Okay, bet. Okay, well, we'll try this one more time. But welcome back. Welcome back to the show, where we just talk about basketball as truthful as possible, right? And today we're gonna go over the games over the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a lot of games. There's a lot of crazy games, especially last night. And I got some things I gotta get off my chest off of these games. So let's get into it, right? First things first. New York's very own. We had a massive win last night. Jalen Brunson was nothing short of spectacular. He had a historic night. And he again continues to prove that he's one of the best players in the NBA. So let's go take a look at some of the... Let's take a look at some of these highlights, because boy, it was a game. It was back and forth. Embiid has been incredible. Let's see. Embiid has been amazing. And it was just such a fun game to watch, right? Let me see, what do I have written down over here? Honestly, one of my main takeaways is just from this series in general is the fact that we got already hit with an ad, bro. What the hold on, man. Here we are, baby. Okay, we're in business. All right, so we can see some of the game. But yeah, so one of the things that I had written down is these guys, they can win under so many different circumstances. They could be up, they could be down, they can win a gritty game if they get hot. They've shown that they can win under so many different circumstances. Granted, it's against a Philadelphia team that has Joel Embiid at probably 60%, and he's still getting buckets. But honestly, where they're really lacking him is on defense, to be able to lock the paint down. So they're really missing that part of it. And, the last two games, Jalen Brunson's been able to get into the paint, get to the line, kind of like the way he's been able to do for most of the season. And, really just take advantage of that. But my God, what a game. What a game. I mean, you can't ask for anything more out of your star player than to come in a situation like that, right? A historic night. So I guess the question moving forward is, what does that look like in the East, right? So if they beat Philadelphia, let's see who they'd be playing against. Right, so if you look here, if they beat Philly, they're going to play either the Bucks or the Pacers. And let's be honest, Bucks probably aren't going to win that series with a hurt Damian Lillard, and we'll get to that a little bit later. And Indiana isn't a defensive team, and they don't have a lot of guards that can really take care of Brunson. Miles Turner likes to stay on the outside. So I've seen the Knicks being able to get over the Indiana Pacers, and then it comes down to the top of this bracket where you have Boston and Miami, Cleveland and Orlando. And like I said in my video that I had posted earlier today, I think the winner of this is probably going to be whoever wins the Boston Miami series. And that'll be who the Knicks might face in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not to look too far ahead, but you know, that's where I see them ending up. I think that they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals on Jalen Brunson's back, carrying them, backpacking them to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think that that'd be a really good spot without a co-star right next to him to really relieve the pressure of going and getting 20, 30 points a game. I think that's a really, really good goal, and that's a really, really good season for them moving forward, right? This guy is legit. This guy's a winner. He's a proven winner, and I think everyone is coming along with him really nicely. And it's great to see. It's great to see winning in New York again. It's great to see that. It's great to see a team that really does have potential of getting more wins and going deep into playoffs moving forward, right? Let me see. And then the second game that we could kind of get into is, holy shit, that Clippers Dallas game. Wow, what a game that was yesterday. I would have to check. I think Dallas was down as much as 31 points, and came all the way back. Kawhi sat out, and so it was really, they were able to play the way that they had been playing, in the couple weeks where he was sitting out, and these guys just seem really comfortable in that role. I know Paul George had a really big first half, but I really do like it when James has the ball in his hand for this team. I think he makes good decisions for them. I think he's their best ball handler, especially under pressure. And if you kind of just let him do him, I think good things happen. And Paul George in his spots, kind of like how he's done throughout the year. He picks his spots really well. And scores in bunches, and I think they proved that. But honestly, the story last night to me was Kyrie Irving. I know everyone has been talking about Luka Doncic all year, and Luka has been spectacular on offense and getting everybody involved, but my God, Kyrie Irving put on a show, and here we'll see kind of some of the early parts of the game where Paul George was just going off, but Kyrie was really spectacular. And I think seeing how his game has matured, not so much the bop 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 game where he gonna make you look like a fool, snatchbacks, crossing you up 2 or 3 times. He's really just giving you a move, getting to a spot, pulling up and shooting. And maybe it's his maturation process. Maybe he realizes that he don't have that many dribbles playing with a guy like Luka, who will dribble the ball through that damn floor. But kind of like Paul George, Kyrie's ability to pick his spots in the game and be efficient is it's really amazing, and it just shows you how good he really is. But yeah, as we can see, the Clippers were up early. They're up by a lot early, and the threes were falling. Everything was really falling. But they kept talking on the broadcast all night about Harden in the mid-range, and he was getting back to that. I always felt like he always had that in his game, and he was able to show it last night. The other thing about this series is I wonder if this will be a 7-game series. Both teams have shown that they can play defense in spurts, but they've also shown, kind of like what Harden was saying last night, that they're with Kawhi, 5 of the most talented offensive players that we've ever seen. Getting hit with an ad already. Right, so 5 of the most talented offensive players that we've ever seen, and Russ is the triple double king. So there's so much talent between these guys. It's really hard to stop. Hard to stop each other for long periods of time. And I think that they've shown that. So it makes me wonder if this series has the potential to go 7 games. Will it go the distance, or will we have a banger of a series that's just gonna go the length, and really just captivate us? And it's only the first round, right? That's kind of the amazing part. It's only the first round of the playoffs, and we're getting this, like, man, when Kyrie would just get on a roll, he would just get 2-3 possessions, scoring, assisting, just doing everything. It was, I mean, like, like, look at this dude, man. Like, what? But yeah, so that game was spectacular. I think it was kind of like how most comebacks go. The team that's coming back exerts so much energy and effort to come back, that to get over the hump when they've already spent so much of their energy. It's hard sometimes. Shots stop falling, tired legs. The way rhythm and flow works in the course of a game, maybe they've been on such a long run that now it's just the part of the game where they fizzle out, which unfortunately sometimes is just the very end of the game. So they weren't able to complete the comeback, and yeah, so moving forward, we'll see what happens. Luka has been good, but he hasn't been, the Luka that we're used to, dominating everyone. And we need to see other people step up, right? We see Lively getting a lot of buckets and rebounds, but we really don't have another guard to take the pressure off of Luka and Kyrie, and to just hit shots, right? And spread the floor out and really make sure that you can't load up on these guys at the elbows, and just kind of wait on them and force them to shoot step backs all game. Because, as great as these players are, if they're just going to shoot a bunch of step backs all game, I think that the Clippers would be happy with that. And I think that, they'll shake their hand if they win, but more often than not, you'd probably win that. So, we'll see what happens moving forward. Let me see. All right, well, I guess we can go over this really quickly, because this is kind of the what the fuck series right now, which is the Bucks Indiana series, because the injury to Dame, the injury to Giannis, obviously coming into the playoffs, and now Chris Middleton has been in and out. He had a really good game the other day, which is kind of what we've been looking for. But then we had, what was it, Bobby Portis, I think, got ejected early on in this game. And, Indiana has just shown that they really do have a good offense, as they had all year. So you're gonna see a little bit of this game. This really is kind of just like a what the fuck series, because Indiana's probably gonna win this series. Milwaukee put up a little bit of a fight, but they just don't have enough. They just don't have enough firepower to go against these guys. And when Miles Turner is hitting shots, Halliburton's hitting shots, everyone's hitting shots, they're just gonna be a tough team to beat, no matter what. They made it deep in the play-in tournament, all the way to the end, because their offense was so good. But yeah, so we don't really know what's gonna happen. Let's see, like, what's the update with Damian Lillard? Not a damn thing, huh? See, like they're both doubtful for Bucks Pacers games due to injury. Yeah, so like what you do with that, man? Tuesday game 5 of their first round playoffs. Calf strain. Oh, that was the other thing. That's they keep saying Achilles, and I think Doc Rivers has said something just before about he's been dealing with his Achilles recently. It might be one of those things where you got to shut him down, and just it just is what it is. You guys had a good season. You pack it up and you live to fight. You just live to fight again another day. And then for Indiana, they go against a gritty New York Knicks team. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think the Knicks got that. Miles Turner barely rebounds. Hartenstein has done a really great job. You know, he's just going up against big ass Joel Embiid. But once Embiid get out the game, he starts to cooking. But you know, so I think that series, if they do get past the Bucks, I do think that the Knicks can take care of Indiana. Probably 5 or 6 games. So that's how that's gonna probably look for. That's how that's gonna be looking. And then we have, what is this? Oh, we could talk about some of the games that's happening later today. Let's see. All right, so what is it? What time is that game today? That game is at 6:30 today, and you know, what? Boston is up right now, 3-1. They're up what? 3-1 right now, right? Yeah, so they're probably they got a high chance of winning this game. Even though they're in Miami. Right, they won this shit, right? I'm not tripping out, right? Here, let me see. I mean, this series is unfortunate because without Jimmy Butler, they're really just lacking their, not just their leader, but some offense. Someone that could just go get a bucket, especially in the half court in the playoffs when the game slows down, and a lot of half court, and there is a lot of half court that is played. So this is really just, they just have more talent. I do think that Boston does have a tendency to shoot a lot of jump shots. When they went against Golden State, was it 2 years ago? I genuinely thought they were gonna win. However, when they won that first game in a comeback, and they won it off the backs of 3-pointers, I knew the series was over. Because they were much bigger than Golden State. In my mind, they were probably more talented. But all that kind of just gets gets thrown out to the side if you're just gonna sit on the outside and shoot jump shots all day and not use your advantage, which is your size. You know, Kristaps is really good, but he's also a jump shooting big. Tatum is damn near 6'10", 6'11", but he loves to shoot jump shots. You know, and And the guy that likes to drive, they make fun of for not having a left, which is Jalen Brown. So I think that's really their weaknesses themselves, right? So we'll see how they stack up. I do think that they pose a matchup nightmare for anyone because of their size. So on defense, they'll be able to hold a lot of teams at bay. Drew Holiday is a great starting point for their defense, especially with, size behind him. He can play aggressive. With Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis behind them, he could really pressure these guards. So, kind of what I was talking about earlier in a series against the Knicks, I think that would be a problem, is that Drew Holiday matchup on top of having just bodies to throw at him. They might try Jalen Brown or a Jason Tatum on Brunson and just throw different looks at him, aside from just Drew Holiday. And then, when they are hitting like they were in this game, no one's going to stop them because they can hit jump shots, they can hit tough shots. And they have, a top 5, top 10 player in Jason Tatum. If he's hitting shots like that, you just shake his hand and say, good game. There's nothing much that you could do at that point, right? But I think moving forward, we gotta see how these guys adapt, right? So if they do get past Miami, they would be playing either Cleveland or Orlando. Both young teams, so inexperience isn't going to help either of those teams. The experience would fall on, both Boston and Miami. And, I think Boston has been looking for that ring and looking at another chance at that ring. So I think they're determined and they're hungry right now. And, this Cleveland-Orlando series, the irony in it is it's 2-2, but no one's really been talking about it a whole lot. Maybe because there hasn't been big pop-off games from the people that we're looking for, like Mitchell, who's kind of been just who's kind of been just playing all right. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving forward, I do want to get to what was it? I do want to get to the other big game today, which is the Lakers Denver game. Right? The Lakers Denver game, because the Lakers are probably going home tonight. We have to say bye-bye to LeBron and the Lakers. They're going home tonight. It was good while it lasted. They got themselves a couple extra games past the regular season. Like I said in my video the other day, I felt like there was just, maybe a lack of trust coming from Bron, or coming from the coaching staff when it came to trusting AD and D'Lo at the end of the game. They just got no shots up in that game 3. They got no shots up. It made no sense to me. Like I didn't know what was happening in that game. So the Lakers are probably gonna win. They're probably gonna lose this, and Denver's gonna go out on ahead. And if we look at the bracket, let's see. Sorry. Look at the bracket one more time, right? Who's waiting for this team? It's Denver, Lakers. And I'll say this right now. I think we're getting an early Western Conference Finals matchup in today. We're getting an early Western Conference Finals matchup in the NBA this year. And it's going to come in the conference semifinals, and it's going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, which is a rematch of last year. And the Nuggets swept the Timberwolves. And I know the Timberwolves are young. the Nuggets are supposed to make it to the NBA Finals. It's kind of their championship to lose. Is how everybody's been talking about the Nuggets. And just to talk about the Nuggets really quickly, they have been phenomenal. They have been incredible. Jokic, you know, I have 3 teams that I see that do this, right? You have, at least in the playoffs, you have the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Knicks are the 3 teams to me that I've seen just win under different conditions. You know, whether they're star players playing well, whether they're not playing well, you know, whether they were up, whether they were down. They're able to win under so many different circumstances and so many different situations that I think it makes it very difficult to play against them because they're just gritty teams. And you know, I think the Thunder have been coasting to a 3-0 lead, so we haven't been able to see that, and they've been dominating the shit out of the Pelicans, so we haven't been able to see that. And I think that they are a pretty gritty team as well too, but I think those 3 teams are the 3 teams that come to mind when I just think about grit and grind and just getting after it and just winning games that they probably shouldn't sometimes. Which is what I think has happened with this Nuggets-Lakers series. I think they probably got a game or 2 that they shouldn't have won. The Timberwolves and the Suns, even though they swept them, it was a much closer series than I think people will ever give the Suns credit for. They played them pretty tight. They just always found a way to edge them out at the end and win the game. And, you know, I think you just tip your hat off to those teams. They just figure out a way. And I think the Nuggets, you know, being a champion, have shown that obviously on the biggest stage, right? And that starts with their center Jokic. So now moving forward, if we're looking at a Minnesota, a Timberwolves, Denver Nuggets series, I'm sure a lot of people will probably have the Nuggets winning that. And I don't blame you guys, because I do think that experience is a huge factor. I do think that experience trumps a lot of things, right? However, what experience can't do anything about is size, speed, athleticism. And what I mean by that is you can't teach those things, and they can take those things away to a certain extent. But when I look at a team like Minnesota that plays so well together, they don't rely necessarily on their athleticism. They just hound people on defense. They have size at every position. They have depth. And more importantly, last year, you had Kyle Anderson playing like 25 and a half minutes a game in that series. This year, that'll be Jaden McDaniels. This year, it'll be Alexander Walker, who's really shown confidence, right? This team has really shown a lot of confidence. I think one of the last matchups that the Nuggets and the Timberwolves had was like literally a gritty ass, low scoring game. And you know, it's just I think that Minnesota got a real chance. I think that Minnesota got a real chance, and I think that they'll surprise a lot of people. This guy Anthony Edwards is hungry. This guy Edwards is hungry, man, and I think that he gonna go after it. He's coming for the number 1 spot. He coming for bronze spot. He coming for number 1, and I don't think that there's anybody that could really stop him at this point. 31 points in the second half last night. You know, and now I guess we're kind of transitioning into the Timberwolves a little bit, but 31 points in the second half last night. It was just an amazing performance. It was an amazing performance, and always giving credit to his teammates. I don't know where he learned all this stuff from so early on, but the faith in his teammates, right? And just knowing that he'll get his shots up and get his buckets up at some point, I think is just really, really special to see. Here, let me take a look at this. You know, and I guess to just speak on Phoenix really quickly, like I said, everybody gonna look at it like they got swept, and obviously they did. But I do think that they played the series a lot closer than people are going to give them credit for. In my opinion, because the series was close, they needed to do a change to just throw something off. I think their biggest curse is the fact that they have. I think their biggest curse is the fact that they have one basketball for all of their stars, right? And unfortunately for them, they didn't have the time to really mold and mesh with each other, with Beal missing a lot of time. So, you know, as we've seen, Durant and Booker have found a way to play together. They've learned how to play with each other. They've learned how to play together and, you know, pick their spots. It's not perfect, but they've learned how to kind of do that and manage that. Excuse me. And with Bradley Beal missing so much time, they just haven't had that opportunity to naturally do that. I think that additionally, we also don't see I don't think that their coaching staff has implemented enough stuff that includes the three of them in actions together. I've seen, you know, Gilbert Arenas and his crew on Gil's Arena talk about split action, kind of like how the Warriors do it with Draymond in the post, you know, where Steph and Clay will pick for each other. One will curl to the basket, the other will go to the corner, and just these actions that include all three of them. Because when the Warriors were running that with Draymond, it was great, but it got dangerous when now you had Kevin Durant as either the weak side shooter, or you could have even had him being the guy in the post. And, you know, they just were never able to implement some of these offenses that I think would have helped these guys out. And, you know, at the end, it wasn't enough. I think that the Suns should have probably tried putting Isaiah Thomas in at point guard at some point, whether starting him or playing it at spurts and having Book go naturally to his two guard position and just score. Durant to just go and score. Kind of have Bradley Beal with the second unit, or when Book gets out with Durant, so that he could go looking for his shots, because all we had the whole time was a passive Bradley Beal, and you could tell when he would start driving and making moves that he was always unsure, he was always hesitant, because he just hasn't had enough touches and hasn't had enough shots. And that's kind of what comes out of that situation. You know, we saw Durant have some good games. We saw Book have a phenomenal game last night. But Minnesota just had this guy, right? And I think that moving forward for Phoenix, you know, I'm already hearing rumors about Booker going to New York, as from what Stephen A. Smith said. Apparently none of these guys want to be here. It's just a Brooklyn Nets situation all over again. So we'll see what happens with Phoenix. But I do have this to say, because let me see if I can pull it up actually really quick. Let's see if I can pull this up. Let's see, I can't find it right now. All right, I don't think I can find it right now, man. It's tough. All right. Well, we'll just pretend this was last night, all right? we'll just fucking pretend, man, because I'm trying to look for it. So if you were watching the game last night, then you would know that there were two very scary moments in that game last night. And it was this, bro. It was if I'm trying to find the video, but this happened again last night. He got stepped on one time by Beal, and the other time he rolled his left and his right ankle. I swear he did, but it might have just been one of them. And listen, I see what's happening because I have a video on it. You guys can go check it out. Here. Here you go. I have a video on it. Is Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan? We had let's see if he is. He just said it. He just said it last night, you know, with Shannon Sharp. You know, everyone has been talking about it. I've been talking about it. I'm really high on this dude. I think that he is the next big thing. And I think the NBA is just kind of testing it out and testing the waters because his game demands it. It's not just hype. He got the personality for it. He got the look. I mean, he got everything, man. He got everything. He got the package. But this is the thing. If Anthony Edwards is going to be the best player in the NBA and the face of the league, then he needs to leave Adidas ASAP. He needs to. What did Kobe do? What did Kobe do back in the day? When he didn't like the shoe that came out, he bought his own contract out or something, right? He bought his own contract out. He got himself out of Adidas, and then he was in sneaker free agency. He had those threes on when he was with Mike. He had some eights on. He was in sneaker free agency, and he ended up on Nike. Anthony Edwards, you need to leave Adidas ASAP. Okay, you hear me? You need to leave Adidas as soon as you can. Buy yourself out of the contract as soon as you can. Here's the reality. Adidas has done a great job. They've done a great job. I love the commercials with him. They show his personality. They're paying homage to Jordan. They're playing into all of this, right? So just give him to Nike. We don't want another Derrick Rose, Tracy McGrady situation, man. I don't know how many people remember that, but the Adidas curse was a real thing. And it only ever happened when it came to high flyers. And Anthony Edwards is exactly that. A high flyer that ended up on Adidas. We got to get him up out of there, man. Like, I don't know if the league got to step in. Like what they did when Chris Paul was supposed to go to Kobe and the Lakers, and they said, no, homeboy. You're not going to go over there, right? And they stopped that. I don't know if they gotta I know Nike got the jerseys right now. I don't know if they're going to promise Adidas the jersey when the contract is up or whatever the case. Whatever they got to do, I don't know if the NBA got to step in. Whatever y'all got to do, y'all got to get this man to Nike. And y'all got to get him to Nike as soon as possible. I don't think anybody talking about this, but it's a real thing. Let's not wait for some Adidas curse to happen. Let's not wait for something to happen. We've seen it before. Put that man in Nike and just call it a day. Amen. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But I think that's got to happen. I think that's got to happen moving forward. They're pushing him to be the one. He's on his way. Just put some Nike on, man. Just do it. Just got to get him into Nike. And not Jordan either. Don't put him on Jordan either. Right? Nike, get you Ant Edwards. And get and you already have Victor Wembanyama. You got to get SGA. You know, you got to get that trio. And trust me, I mean, but SGA, not he was somebody else. But if y'all could, y'all get SGA and y'all be out of here. Trust me, y'all will be out of here. But you know, that's just, he rolled his ankles, man. I was like, nope. I was like, we not about to do this again. I've seen this before. And the script is in. This guy is supposed to be Michael Jordan, and he play like him. The script is in. So NBA, I don't know what y'all got to do to facilitate this, but get that man to Nike and get him out of Adidas as soon as you can. But what is it? The other game that's going to be on later today is, OKC New Orleans, and OKC has been dominant. And like I just said, SGA, man, if he was on Nike, that would be crazy. But SGA has been spectacular again. And like this team is just, they're just good, man. They're just good top to bottom. They're also just a really good team top to bottom. I think the difference between them and a team like Minnesota is that Minnesota just has some more proven guys, even though they're a little bit inexperienced in the sense of championships. You do have guys there that have been around the league for a while now. And I think that does a lot. But just very quickly, I do think that the NBA MVP resides in Oklahoma City, and it's Shea. He's been super consistent, super efficient, plays both sides of the ball, and has carried a team with, I bet you most people can't even name a lot of people on this team, and look at where they are. They're number one in the West, and he has been spectacular. So I'm looking for them to close the series out, and they'll be waiting on the winner of the Clippers Dallas series. And the reality is they might be waiting a little bit for that, because like I said before, I think that might go 7 games. It's a good chance to go 7 games, and OKC's probably gonna finish this series out tonight. And yeah, so just what a weekend. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks, Eastern Conference Finals. We could book that. Anthony Edwards, get the fuck out of Adidas, baby. Go to Nike.